All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is February 16th, 2022. Appreciate all the well wishes yesterday as I was out. And as always, let's kind of kick things back off with a little bit of a recap for the past two sessions. We'll start off with our S&P expected move. Nothing really of note. The market still remains pretty much range bound and hasn't really moved much from a volatility perspective. We are seeing things like our VIX coming back off of a fear spike, mostly caused by some of the volatility and geopolitical risk that is being seen in the current market environment. And we're also seeing things like volatility premium pricing, or the way I like to think about it is, are people buying up volatility and buying it aggressively? We're seeing this also come back down, the VVIX and the acceleration of volatility starting to decline. The more news the market gets, the more information we can assess. And usually what we're going to be taking into account is what is the main topic today, which is market generated information. So it's been a long time since the equities market has been as responsive to news catalysts as we've seen in the past couple of intraday sessions. If you recall back in time, there was moments where, whether it be our presidential leader providing different information through Twitter, that information would cause shakeups in the intraday session, whether they were necessarily impactful in the long term. Usually they were just one-off events, and the market would respond through news algorithms and just quicker high-frequency trading. Market would reestablish itself, and then often case it would reclaim a level that it had been previously trading at. We're seeing some of this volatility in a similar sense on the intraday session. Markets will respond to these news shakeups. We get some information about potential impacts geopolitically, and of course the market will quickly move and try to reassess the risk in short order. But when we look at things from our daily perspective, there's a couple of bits of information that are starting to form, and this is what we'll be looking at from our market generated information point of view. What's great about this particular topic is, amidst whatever is occurring and amidst the sort of risk in the market, generated information is typically the advertisement of price and volume. It's what the market is actually doing versus what most market participants think it should be doing. And this generated information is typically the truth. There's obviously different traps and tricks that technical analysts are prepared for and understand quite well as they get more experienced. But at the end of the day, what is the market actually advertising to us, and how can we take advantage of these areas of the market to gain edge as a trader? So by looking at the S&Ps, and we'll just start this exercise from scratch, we can just look at things like relative pricing over the past 2 months. Now, obviously, the market has sold off quite heavily from its all-time high. So a lot of people are looking at this as a distribution area of the market. They're starting to say that, well, if the market is able to sell off that quickly from its high, are we about to see something much more significant? And some of the biggest technicians are starting to claim that there is a potential head and shoulders forming in this market, essentially stating that because we have run to all-time highs and have sold all the way back to our previous swing lows, we have established a much larger distribution range in the market. And these distribution ranges can trigger bearish markets, basically the start of a bear market in the long term. So a lot of people are, of course, watching these swing lows. They're also looking back in time and trying to find other moments where head and shoulder structures have formed. Usually this is an exercise going back multiple years. You will find some examples of this back in 2010. If I can bring it back far enough, I might need to actually extend this. Let's do 15 years. You'll find examples of this back in 2010. Things like previous bull runs leading to sharp bear market sell-offs. You'll even find some of these events occurring during potential rate hike sessions. Basically cycles in the market where the Fed was increasing its Fed fund rate. And these events in the short term did cause a lot of fear and panic. The distribution setups were becoming more apparent in the market. And of course, it led to sharper downside activity from the all-time highs. That said, just like every technical pattern, these of course need to be confirmed. And you can see on the weekly here some of the clarity of this head and shoulder, and the fact that this is a downward facing head and shoulder. It's not necessarily horizontal by its neckline. And additionally, it's not necessarily fully confirmed, as the market is starting to form the potential right shoulder of this larger distribution pattern. So the clarity here is a bit foggy because we are in a larger range of the market. And if this truly does become the right shoulder, then of course that confirmation and the sort of bearish sell-off volume that we may see following through would become a pain point for bulls in this market who have continuously bought certain dips and ultimately are looking for new all-time highs, albeit we are seeing some fear and uncertainty in the moment. And as we zoom into our daily chart, this perspective becomes even harder to assess. Let's say we take our technical technique of drawing trend lines. And although we do have new price action, I want to just comment on the original trend line, which was formed by the first lower high that led to a lower low, and obviously our fear-based selling over the past couple of weeks. This original trend line is still relevant to the market because we are seeing somewhat of reactions near this price. We obviously saw a nice bounce recovery, but the market has yet to really reclaim above this trend line. It's still acting as an area of resistance. If we go down into a short-term time frame and really tighten up this particular area, you can see that people, or I would say traders who took this advantage, tried to take a long trade on a breakout of the trend line, either got stopped out as we fell back below or became trapped in some sort of short-term false breakout of a retracement line. And you can see that the market started to print lower lows, essentially trapping them, and eventually, if we were to continue, would eventually stop those traders out. So poor location near the top side of our trend line, as it still is acting as an area of resistance. And obviously, as the market evolves, you can sort of tighten up these trend lines, looking for things like areas of confluence. Obviously, this is not absolutely perfect towards the top end of this, this trading wick, but getting the confluence of a third test, or in this case, a second test, our false breakout look, and then a back test, basically reconfirming that this is resistance and seeing the market sell off from this point. As I extend this further out, you'll see that even today in pre-market, this area is of note. It's important for current trade because we haven't yet broken out from it. And essentially, because we haven't broken, we're looking to be somewhat fearful or avoidant of long bias trading due to the fact that the market has placed a trap above this area before. Now, you can perform this analysis in both ways. We obviously have a very important low in the market, and every person who likes trend lines will once again sort of look at the first time that this particular trend line was set. Market responded with a long. We got a lot of volatility range trading, and then our first sort of move above the swing high. So this particular low, especially since it was a bit of a trap breakdown, we see a little bit of trading activity below our swing low, and the market responded very bullish. This is our first essential trend line. What that looks like on the daily is we're starting to capture the swing lows and starting to encompass where long opportunities shall be placed or should be placed in the case that the market does break out bullish once again. Now, as you can see, this particular trend line doesn't have a lot of confluence. We did come into it on, let's see, this is, I believe, Monday's session. No, this is Friday's session, the sharper sell-off. Friday session, we did come into our trend line for the first time since it was set. We saw the market trade much lower, a little bit of volatility, as if you recall, this particular breakdown and the fact that the market lost the swing low, something that was holding up prior, caused once again the volatility to spike. We saw the VIX go back up to 30. We saw volatility futures start to go back into backwardation. And essentially the market said, well, the most likely scenario here is that if we reclaim this range, then we may see a retest of our swing lows. At the very least, starting to see a retest of about 425. But once again, market stalled. We saw lots of chop on Monday, basically a lot of back and forth trade. And then the market recovered back into an attempt to break out of our downtrend retracement line. As I extend this out, just to showcase that we are essentially trapped between two relevant trends. And the reason I bring this up, the reason it's relevant to what we've been experiencing is sometimes traders interpret the market as always having a directional bias. They think that it has to be long, it has to be short. If you're in a range, you're just waiting for the opposite side to take place. And throughout all of that, you're trying to gain edge. You're trying to be directional at all times because you think that's the best way to gain edge and to gain profit in this market. Sometimes the market is not necessarily giving us those advantages. Oftentimes, markets find themselves in a period of balance. And while this has been some volatile trade activity, if we look at things like volume profile, we'll notice that there are some larger distribution zones in this market. And these are zones that are transactable. They're zones like VPOC over the past, let's just say 90 days, or sorry, 30 days. They're transactable zones in the market where price likes to gravitate towards. You'll notice 450 stands out very clearly. This is a price level that we've seen a lot of important closure at. Last week, we actually had a very important move to 450. And then, of course, our Friday sell-off as the market was attempting to sell further on fear and uncertainty. You can see things like 440 starting to stand out as well. Another shelf of inventory that the market has transacted. And additionally, as we start to move further and further down, this distribution curve or the volume profile structure starts to sort of fall off, which means that our edge actually gets more impactful the lower we get into this range. The ability for a long trade and a turnaround in the market has lots of edge so long as we can get the right signals in these lower bounds. Additionally, our edge as a short trader is some of the highest potential if we get into these topside resistance zones. This is why we spent some time on our gap, which of course has been filled, and the fact that the market was advertising this area as a potential area of short opportunity. But notice how we are mid-range. Not only are we stuck between two trading ranges, we have the high side of our volatility trading range. We have the bottom side of our gap trading range, or essentially the range that attempted to recover the market. And the price action right now is stuck right in the middle. What this means is essentially it is important to claim as a directional bias trader that the market really isn't giving us a lot of edge at the moment. Essentially, we don't have a lot of things that are standing out and saying, this is long, this is a trend, this pennant has broken, and has broken with the type of conviction that we can take the first pullback buy or the first back test of our previous resistance or support. All of these things have either failed to some degree. You'll notice the false breakdown look here. Oops. And you'll notice the false breakout look here. Both of these have failed, which has kept us in the middle ranges of this entire trading activity over the past couple of weeks. Now, all this said, markets typically will start to compress and balance themselves out until new information or a resolution of volatility shows itself. And as we've mentioned, the geopolitical risks that we're experiencing right now, the news cycle and catalyst risk of information about that particular conflict, if any resolution comes of it and the market generates the type of information that can give you confidence in a position, then those are potential opportunities. Those are directionally biased opportunities. Those are moments in time where you can say the market's going to start moving ahead, moving back to the top side. Then you want to see things like a new trend starting to form. As we add things like moving averages, you'll see the sort of volatility that this market has experienced. Longs and shorts coming off of things like the 200 on the hourly, starting to reject the 200 once we collapse, coming to the lower bounds and the trend line, once again, false breakouts and breakdowns. Lots of tricks and traps, which is the hallmark of volatility. Volatility is not kind. It is typically not easy. And usually until it resolves, the market as a whole will give you a lot of false signals. No matter how well of an analyst you are, you might be finding this market pretty challenging. And I'll agree to some sense that we have a lot of risk, a lot of sort of overnight gap risk as the market tends to form larger intraday gaps. You'll notice that for the moment, if I draw another rectangle here to analyze another gap in the market, this area here is still an unfilled gap. We closed on Monday's session at approximately 439.02, and then we opened at 443.73, which means this entire downside area is a gap. Could it be filled? Absolutely. We saw a gap get filled recently. These are areas of the market that if we get the confirmation, we want to respect them as they're starting to form. Gap fill theory and the same idea that we had last week. If we see more downside activity, market can come back to this lower bound before we see any sort of strong, long sort of counter trend reaction. So keep all these in mind. The point that I'm trying to make here is that we have a lot of information in front of us. No matter how you do your technical analysis, you're finding that the market is sort of at a stalling point. We haven't moved up, we haven't moved down. We're trapped between two ranges. The moving averages are no help. We have gaps that are starting to form. Maybe they fill, maybe they hold as support. If it truly is some sort of breakaway or runaway style gap, then that gap should never really be filled completely, and the market will break bullish once again. Obviously, with the 200 on the 1 hour being sort of an early sign of a possible breakout. These are things to take into your trade today, because as we see, there are plenty of earnings coming out this week. And one thing that is on the docket for today is NVIDIA. Now, you might look at NVIDIA and say, well, is this really a market mover? This isn't a Microsoft. This isn't an Apple. What sort of market cap does NVIDIA hold? And if you look at its current market cap, we're sitting at about $662 billion of market cap. Kind of a notable size for a company like this, especially with how volatile it tends to be. You compare that to a stock like Meta, which used to be sort of the top dog or the top sort of 5 or 6 market cap companies. NVIDIA holds more market cap now than Meta does. So when organizing your sort of market cap leaders, when understanding what is relevant to the market, as we go back to our SPY, we see that NVIDIA is in a similar league to a Tesla. Apologies. Still dealing with some lingering symptoms here. So NVIDIA is in a league similar to Tesla. It sits slightly above a Berkshire. And as we saw with the loss of market cap from Meta, it's actually more impactful than Meta itself. Now, knowing this information and knowing what type of expected move NVIDIA can offer this afternoon is going to be important. We are showing currently about 132% IV, which is approximately a $22 to $25 expected move. Excuse me. What this means is, if you recall, our at the money straddles priced in about $22 to $23. This may change over the course of today, but keep an eye on this, because the move that NVIDIA has, and essentially if we get a larger than average move in NVIDIA, will affect the short-term volatility of the S&P. And as we saw, that compression that the market has established, that compression might break. A break in compression for a pennant structure like this tends to set the tone moving forward. And a lot of traders will start to look at different types of indicators that look at different compression events. One of the more common ones is something called the TTM squeeze, which is essentially trying to combine other volatility type studies, things like Keltner channels and Bollinger Bands. Usually when those start to compress and you get sort of a convergence of those channels coming together, you get what are often called squeezes in the market. We see them as sort of price-based pennants. We often see sort of the back and forth action, usually centered around a pivot price. And as the market stalls in this area, if we get a tip over or some sort of confirmation in one direction, that can set the mood and the tone for the next wave of price activity. So while the market is in this zone, and as we sort of establish that there is currently no real directional bias in this market, we're trapped. We're in between moving averages. We're in between price. We're in between ranges. There's a lot of uncertainty and volatility concerns, gap downs, gap ups. Market is unsure which way to go. The next phase of the market, if we get clarity on one of these breakouts actually moving consistently in a direction, needs to be respected, because more and more people are building up their positional risk inside of this range. And whichever way we decide to move, that risk usually is expressed in some sort of range expansion event. Usually this is people either getting the move right and adding to their position on confirmation. It's also people who are wrong, stopping out, basically unwinding risk. And usually that ends whenever the last of the stubborn participants in the wrong direction finally stop out and the last of the profit taking takes place, at which point we get another trading range to interpret and more clarity in this market. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break and call it for today. So trade safe today. Lack of clarity on the S&Ps. Might be looking across different markets and different earnings plays for that additional clarity. Might be looking towards tech. Keeping an eye out on our interest rates, which continue to remain elevated above 2%. Lots of risk factors starting to unwind, but there are things that are either correlated to the price movement or starting to provide additional opportunity. So as always, keep that in mind as you move forward in this market. Trade safe today and stay tuned for pre-market prep. We'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't
Good.
complain. Um, Guys, let's get into it. But before we do so, over in our chat room, we are aware of the delays we're having with the browser. We are working on it. We have not found the solution. We know what the problem is, but the solution has not been yet confirmed. So just be aware that there will be a delay. That it seems as the show goes on, it just gets a little bit worse and worse, right? So you're welcome to join us on YouTube. YouTube is perfectly fine. We should have a solution for this hopefully very soon. Guys, let's take a look at our watch list yesterday, starting with Apple, which actually was not great at the open. This one took a bit to get going here, and it's just very choppy action at first. It did get better later in the day after 12, 1 o'clock. Beautiful drop, beautiful bounce, and then back into some more choppiness, but had a little nice run here. The best movement probably that it had the entire day. Nvidia was great, guys. Beautiful, beautiful takeoff here. Struggled a bit to get going once it settled down, which it didn't take long, about half hour or so. Look at this beautiful breakout above the pre-market highs. And then it just continued to run nicely, guys. Real nice there on Nvidia. So really good trade. This continues to trade. Amazing. This is why we're keeping it constantly on our list. So far, I didn't pay too much attention to because between Nvidia, the one I'm going to show you next, Space, you had a lot to play with already. So far is one of the ones I usually don't keep on my list. And again, it's okay. This is okay, but it's not better than the stuff we had on other tickers here. Let's zoom in over to AMD. AMD. Oh, there it goes. AMD had a nice drop as well. Again, some good opportunities here also, but if you're watching Space and Nvidia, this would have been second to your picking here. But again, also did trade very well. Very clean candles. I think Apple and SoFi probably were the two that didn't trade as great yesterday on our list. Now here's Space, guys. This is the one. I'm so glad I kept this one. I almost took it off the list. I was very hesitant with the way the pre-market was building. But I knew for sure I wanted this for a long, not for short. We knew we wanted this to break out. We didn't want this on the daily going back to this congested area that it had been in for a number of days, right? We did not want no business up here. We want this towards the top with the catalyst that it had. And it traded amazing yesterday. So look at the beautiful breakout you had here above the pre-market highs. And the beautiful continuation to that 979 level and even further. So again, beautiful stuff on Space. Already 1.7 million shares traded. We'll be having this on our list today again to see what kind of action we're going to get on it. So that was our watch list from yesterday. A couple of possibles that did okay, but for the most part, the list we put together turned out to be all right. I thought it was going to be a lot more choppier than that. Here is our gappers list this morning. A couple of tickers in here in the green, a couple in the red. I know some of these are based on earnings, so we'll get into what's going on there and what's happening with both of these on both sides. But before we do that, Norm, what's the latest and greatest on the overall market today?
Yeah, I mean, we had the first up day in a few yesterday. Market's relatively flat this morning, down about a tenth on each. The SPY and the Qs just had retail sales and retail sales ex autos along with import price index come out. Those, I believe, was a little bit hotter than expected on that import price index. And the retail sales number, pardon me, I had it increase month over month 3.8% versus 2% expected. So SPY dropped a little bit on that and then started to pop. So we'll see what the day brings.
Absolutely. Guys, let's take a look at what we have on our gappers list this
Don't
morning.
forget the one thing I do want to man. The one
Yeah.
thing I want to point out, 2:30, those FOMC minutes are going to be important. So
Yep, 2:30 today. So be on the lookout for that as we trade the day here. So yeah, guys, let's get into it. UPST this morning, earnings last night, I assume, or this morning.
yes.
Earnings last night. There we go.
Yes.
We usually don't see this one unless there's some earnings going on. Up 23%, 700,000. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but I know people will be watching it today. So we'll do some levels for it. We'll be ready.
I like you.
Yeah, you like it today?
Mm-hmm.
UPST. We'll put it on there, guys. UPST, great volume this morning. Looks like they crushed their earnings, Norm, on this one.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. AP at TS
They
today. They're
also
up.
announced
Mhm.
share buyback. So
Okay, okay. APTS this morning, they are up 7%, 267,000. Had a couple of nice green days in here. Pre-market action, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything great on this, so I'm not sure what's popping this up. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna keep this to the side. Also, the
this is
daily
a
very
REIT.
light. Oh, it is okay. Very
Yeah,
light
it's
on
a REIT.
volume.
It trades
Hmm.
like 600,000 shares a day.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
see anything on it, but I wouldn't. I don't think this is worth
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah, that's not going to be great. I mean, you're getting some good movement the last couple of days, so something's going on with it. But again, even then, I'd rather watch something else. CRSR this morning, they are up 7.1, 117,000. Not a whole lot of volume at the moment. Pre-market action doesn't look great. Had a pop late after hours last night, and yeah, I just don't like the daily. Don't like anything that I'm seeing on this one. Let's find something better. Here is Macy's this morning. They're getting some action early on today. Up 5.8, 185. What's going on with Macy's? Pre-market earnings is not until next week. So, but they're getting a little bit of action here
They
today.
got an
So,
upgrade this morning, and something on Moody's. I don't know. Frankly, other than the upgrade, I don't see anything very interesting.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, guys. It doesn't look great. We'll keep it off the list. Next week we'll be watching this one. We usually watch it a few times a year when they have earnings or any kind of crazy news. DWAC this morning. I don't like the way this trades. I'll be straight up with you on this one. It's up 4.1, 775. But usually it's just not one that I keep on my list. So I'm gonna move on down to Airbnb today. So Airbnb up 3%. They had after hours earnings last night.
They did.
Could be something. Could be decent. They're difficult to trade though.
It depends on your trading style. Ed kills
Hmm.
it on ABNB. I've
Yeah,
seen him
yeah,
trade it, and he's done really well. But it's not. It doesn't get a ton of volume like some of the stuff we scalp. So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
I know
I
what you
agree.
mean.
So if you had experience trading this one or you it fits your trading style, definitely in play today, guys. It is up a little bit here this morning after earnings last night. PBR. This was making a lot of noise yesterday. It just kept coming up on one of the scanners here. But this morning they're up 2.8, 185,000 shares traded. I don't know what to tell you on this one, guys. I'm hoping we could find something better, right? PDD usually doesn't trade very well. This morning they're up 2.4, just very light on the volume right now, 112,000. We need a little bit more from this one, which we usually do not get. So I'm not expecting that to get a whole lot better than what it is right now. All right, gapping down. Let's look at Roblox. So Roblox had earnings last night, and obviously they're down here quite a bit, 17%, 2 million shares traded right now. So this is definitely in play. I would not usually keep this on my list, but today they're definitely very active, down 17% on earnings. Worth watching. Daily looks interesting as well. Spread is not bad right now. It's only 5 cents, but just be on the lookout. That can get wide at times. So just be mindful of the spread when you join on this. Right there's 10 cents, and we've seen it even worse. Just be very careful. Um, it's not a low flow stock, but it can move like one. So just be aware of your risk management on this one. Has to be on point, guys. TOST not looking good. Very choppy pre-market action. Not that much volume. Don't like the daily. Very light on volume for the most part. But let's move down to Viacom. Viacom down 13.9, and this is definitely a very difficult stock to trade. 1.5 million shares traded. Let's come back to that one. Let's give it a little more room. What's the news on this? What they had?
They had,
Earnings
they had
last night.
earnings last night. They
Yeah.
also got a downgrade this morning, at least one I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
They're changing their name. So
All right, we'll see how that all affects this one. They're down pretty nice today, 14%. Definitely in play. Daily looks interesting. Not our favorite stock to look at, but let's see. Today they got a lot going on this morning. Sage, 12.5, just needs more volume, guys. Huge drop here with only 115,000 shares traded. These type of moves like this on stocks that are only trading 500, looks like 500, 400,000 per day, and they are moving between a couple of dollars. The price action could be funky. if I'm not sure if you guys looked at Car yesterday or the day before, they had earnings, right? And they had a huge drop yesterday, kept hitting the scanners. But if you looked at the price action here, it was a horrible spread. I mean, the spread was like 50 cents at times. The pullbacks were very aggressive. So yes, this looks nice now as a drop, but there was no way to join this properly depending on your trading style. Some of these stocks that you see with very light volume, that's the type of price action you're going to get. For the way I trade, at least, and a lot of us, a lot of moderators and members, it's just not good. It's just not going to work, right? So this one reminds me of that when I look at Sage now. Oh, what happened to the gap down list? Disappeared on us. When I look at Sage, that's what it reminds me of. Just very light volume, extremely light. And I just don't think you're going to get a good price action. 25-cent spread. No, 25 plus, I think here. 25, yeah. So be careful with that. Did anybody else's gap down?
Mine's still there. You might try refreshing.
All right, let's do that. Let's go ahead and exit and start trade ideas again. Oh, never mind. Hold on. Cancel that. We are back in business. There we go. SZI this morning, they're down 10%, 102,000 shares traded. Another one that just looks scary to even look at. So let's move down. Shop. This is Spotify. Or no, it's not Spotify. This is
Shopify.
Shopify. Wow, they're moving down pretty aggressive here, guys. Down 9.7, 245,000. Another one that's very tough to trade.
It's on earnings.
Earnings just came out.
Tough. Yeah, it's worthless as far as intraday trading.
So we've seen this Shopify before. I'm not gonna keep that one on deck. TTD today. They're dropping. Okay, pre-market action down 5.6. Might be worth looking at this one today. Earnings, I'm assuming. Yeah, might be worth.
They had earnings. Mm-hmm. It trades a little thin, but had earnings, it might do all right.
Yeah, right now the price action looking pretty good so far, pre-market. Yes, it is thin on the daily. You can tell here it's not the best. 648,000 right now. Let's see how this goes. Looking all right. All right, we'll stop here. We'll take a look at Snap because we do like Snap here. Snap this morning down 5.3. I know that you have not earnings because earnings was a couple of days ago. What's moving social media down? I see Pins is back here as well.
There was just there was just a squawk, and I missed what it said, but there was something about Android platform, Meta something. I don't exactly know what was just said. So hopefully it'll pop up in the feed. If anybody heard that or has clarity, please throw it in the chat. Google cross-app tracking. Okay, that was what hurt them on Apple.
Yes, it did. And
so, and that's what caused this this big downturn that we recently had on them. So I'm curious to see how this. Apparently, somebody knew this news half an hour ago. Obviously,
right. You see Pins and Snap on here. I'm sure Twitter. You see Meta on here as well. I'm gonna add these guys because that's again, it's killer, guys. If you guys. We all been through it where you're texting something on WhatsApp. Let's say you're talking about this happened to me. We're talking about Range Rover. I think actually it was with Andrew because we were talking about his car. And the next ad on one of the applications I had, this was before this Ask Not to Track, was a Range Rover ad. I mean, it's
creepy, isn't it?
It's creepy. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But that's how these guys make their money. So that targeted marketing. So now every time I download an app, it says, "Do you want to track or ask not to track?" Every time there's an update, and I don't know who clicks on "Okay to track" my thing. I don't. So that ain't gonna be good. All right, here's Roblox. TDD Snap is good. Let's take a look at Twitter because I believe that's gonna affect them a little bit as well. They're not dropping down as much, but we'll put them on here as well just to come back to that. And I'm sure some more will appear here shortly. So, all right, we'll stop here. Did we add Pins? Yeah, Pins is on here as well. Norm, anything you like on your end today?
I mean, I pretty much like what we've got on our list so far. So,
yeah, our list is looking pretty good. Roblox, TDD, Snap. I might even move Pins up because again, that's such a good catalyst for us on them this morning. Let's take it to the chat, guys. We'll start with Dan. Yep, I agree, guys. You gotta be careful what you even type. Why Facebook over DWAC? You guys make me laugh. I'm glad we make you laugh. That is a good thing here. We want you guys to be happy. We want to have a good morning preparation for the market. So DWAC, you know what? For me, it's just. it doesn't trade well. It's very thin, you know. And if you compare this to like I mean, are you comparing this to Facebook? Facebook trades much better. I mean, just look at the pre-market alone this morning. Look at the volume you're getting. Look how tight these candles are, the spread and everything. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot more fun with Facebook. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot. Norm mentioned this earlier. A lot depends on your trading style. DWAC might be your trading style. This is probably the way you are successful at trading the markets, and that's the great thing about it. There's no, you know, there's not one way to trade this market. It's not one set of stocks to watch. You know, maybe this is your cup of tea. For me, it's not the way I trade. Facebook all the way. If I had to pick between these two, by far, by far. All right, let's head on down. Nvidia, we haven't got to it. I don't see it. I did not see it on my gappers list, but let's look at it now. Trade is so great yesterday, guys. I think we have to have it on, even as possible. But we'll put it on here. We got space on our main list. Reminds me of Apple. Apple was not great yesterday. At the start, it did get better later on. But yeah, Nvidia definitely more volume this morning, and I love the daily too. We're setting up nicely for a potential breakout. This stock has been really nice to trade. So above this 265, we'd love to see that on Nvidia. PDD, we looked at X. Let's see what's happening with X this morning. Needs more volume, I think. Nice pop yesterday. Could get the volume at the market open, but I prefer what I have on my list so far. We'll come back to X. Heading down, Tesla, Nvidia. We looked at Nvidia, that's good. Tesla, no, I don't think Tesla's really in play. Neo, I don't think it's really in play neither. Yeah, so I'll keep the EVs off for now. Space, amazing run yesterday. Good volume today, worth keeping on our list. I agree. We'll look at space today. They're down 1.7 after a huge run yesterday, breaking out of this 913 level we had. If you guys remember, that was an area where they struggled to be above 916, 913. We'll put that level there again. We'll see what it does. We'll see what it does today. Definitely, they got some volume. There's some attention on space again, right? It died down. It went flat. Nothing happening here, but there's some attention now with the catalyst of them. Was it resuming booking or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, just firing things up again there to get going. So we'll see how that goes. No shares for short on what, Kim? Kim S. What has no shares for short? DWAC? Oh yeah, and if IB doesn't have shares for short, so yeah, that and even if it did, to be honest, Kim, that's the way this looks. That's not gonna make it or break it. It just looks bad. Just looks bad. All right, we are done here with our chat. Let's go ahead and take a look over at our YouTube friends. What do we have going on here? USPT we do have on deck. We had that on right on here as a secondary. Pre-market action started to look a little bit better. We'll see where it goes. Normally these guys don't trade very well. But earnings today or last night. Yeah, earnings last night. So they got some good movement this morning. Gold. Yeah, we you could look at the ETFs of gold, and I don't usually put them on my list because I don't usually end up trading them. So I won't be adding them this morning. Eric, what is this? This is the Ericsson phone company, or is this something else?
Oh, crap.
This is garbage. This is this is horrible, guys. This is. Don't be fooled by this 2 million shares traded here. It doesn't move. It's a horrible price action. I don't know how these guys are let me just stop there. I don't want to do anything crazy. But yeah, Be Big. Let's focus on that. Be Big. Actually, Be Big has a decent pre-market activity. This is one that kept showing up on our list, and it was also not great. But they have a decent pre-market activity today. Up 8.2, 4.7. Let's remind ourselves, what is the flow? The flow's not low flow. Be Big. Yeah, we'll come back to Be Big. They're actually doing something. There was a couple of days back where it kept coming up on our list and it just looked like trash. But today they got something going on. We did not. No, we like space. Space is on deck here, guys. We do like space today. We liked it yesterday as well. Yep. Be Big. Cross. CROX.
Crocs.
No.
Yeah.
Crocs. No.
They had earnings this morning.
They did.
When they have earnings, a lot of times they are in play. So they don't really have much going on at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them do something.
Get going. Okay. All right. I'm gonna add them on here because this can probably beat some of the stuff we have.
It's a terrible. It's a terrible chart right now, but I've seen them have earnings and have really good days. So.
Nice. Okay, we'll take a closer look as we get closer to our market open. Alan, you're giving us AMD. AMD is pretty quiet right now, and Nvidia's the one that really's got it going on, man. I think Nvidia's the one I'm going to watch today. We'll think about AMD and Apple if they come up. We know, for a matter of fact, a lot of people are going to be watching AMD in the chat room. They'll call it out if they see something. If we see in the scanners, the AMD is making some noise, we know it's a great stock to trade. We can always take a look at that one. Let's look at Hook. What is Hook doing? No. This is more of a penny stock. Again, nothing wrong with this, but these stocks trading, at this low price, I'm just not good at, and my strategies don't work well on these type of stocks, right? The movements are a little bit different. The price action is different than what I'm used to seeing on stocks that are higher price, 20, 50, $30, right? So I'll stay away from that one. Yeah, Jace, that's a oh no for sure. Okay, let's stop here. I think we're all set, guys. There was one that I missed that I wanted to check. I think I skipped some. That's all right. It'll come back later. All right, this is what we have so far, looking so good. SPY at the moment, getting some action here. We're dropping a little bit, so we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, there was just news that Blinken said that yesterday we were popping on Russians saying they were pulling troops from their border, and now it's being said that they're actually adding to it. So,
okay. All right, we'll see where that goes there. Guys, let's get to our community events and announcements. We had a couple of great webinars already this week. Let's see what's coming up and what's left for the rest of this week.
All right. I have a hard time with this because of the delay. So go ahead and skip through. Tonight we've got, I'm just going to hit what's tonight. It's Wednesday. Is it Creta? Somebody's asking about minutes. Minutes are released at 2:30 today. It's different than the meeting itself. No, Mike is tonight. Focus on the process instead of the outcome is what he's going to be talking about. Thinking in probabilities. And then sorry guys, I can't do this. I can't read it. I can't see it. Just move on, Carlos.
Yeah, I got you, man. Tonight Thursday we have Andrew, Ed, and Thor, as you guys know already. Over here we have our market replay. Do not forget about that. Great way to practice and get some screen time when the market's not open. Weekend nights, you can hop on in there and get a couple of tests in practice. So let's take care of that, guys. We're running our promo Valentine's 50% off. Take advantage of that. One of our best deals that we do for our annual membership. If you want to give us a shot, you can. It only costs you $39. Well, actually, we'll give you a discount, $24, pre-market $24. You can come in, you get access to 7 days of our community. You have access to 2 chat rooms, the main chat room and the Edge chat room, which again, a lot of amazing stuff happening there. Take advantage of that. And then I will be live on Monday, myself and Mike, for the onboarding class, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll answer any questions you might have and give you a quick overview of the entire community. So don't miss out on that. The good stuff there. All right, let's get to it, guys. Let's hop over here. SPY's doing his thing there. Our watches right now, we have Roblox, which continues to fall apart here this morning, man. They're not having a good time. TTD, very, very active as well. Again, I'm looking forward to this one because I haven't watched this one in a long time. I usually dismiss it, but today's looking rather well. Snap and some of our social media friends are not liking what's going on with all this not tracking situations. So we have them on deck. I have pins. I also have Twitter somewhere down here, and I also have Facebook. But definitely Facebook or Meta, pins, and Snap. All 3 of these are looking very, very nice. NVIDIA was great yesterday, dropping a little bit now. I'm assuming because the market is, so that's good. And we have Space as well. Did very well yesterday, down a little bit today after such an incredible run. Finally giving us some action. 182 million shares traded yesterday. So that was a whole lot of fun there. All right, let's get to some levels. Roblox, look at this. It's just every time I pull it up, it's down another $1. It's just madness. All right, so here we go. High of the pre-market on Roblox, 62.85 was slamming level there. That has been prior support, as you can see here on the daily. So that looks good. We have another level before we get to our current price action at 59.96. That might be $60, but either way, that's the level of also good support there in the past. We could not hold that this morning, as you can see here, dropping below that. And then after this, the floodgates have opened, my friends. This thing is dropping like nobody's business. All right, below this, we do have 53.83. I'm not going to mark down the low of the pre-market just yet. Let's see how bad this can get. How low can this thing really go there? All right, let's look at TTD this morning. Towards the top, plenty of levels, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, all taken care of. You here, guys, do not need to add anything else. Their pre-market high, though, was all the way at 91. Where is this? 91 right up here. Yeah, 91. So we'll mark that there. Since then, they have dropped to $76. Man, man, oh man. All right. Towards the bottom, we do have 72.63. That's a good level there. And then all the way down here, we have a couple here that are okay. 67.86. And I'm also going to mark down 63.61 because the fact that this is down almost $14, you might need to be ready for whatever this can bring here. So yeah, so we're all set there. 63.61. And then $14 from the highs of the pre-market, obviously. Okay, here we go. Snap this morning. News coming out here that there are, again, this app to track situation is not great for social media. Let's get rid of some of these levels. Let's do some fresh ones. Towards the top right now, plenty here. Great consolidation over the last couple of days. Look at just banging their heads against this previous day close here, which is 41.43. Towards the bottom, we're going to mark down our current pre-market low. Let's see if that can hold here. 38.49. You see a lot of touches around this level as well on the daily. Towards the bottom, we do have 37.20. And we do have down here 35.38. Let's see where this goes. Looking very, very active, guys. 949,000 this morning. NVIDIA, beautiful action yesterday out of the gates, guys. This thing was just beautiful to look at, trade, and take opportunities on. 267.41, looking very good. High of the pre-market. Above this, we're at a level, actually. If you look at the daily, this is a great area of support and resistance, right? So you're going to get a lot of action around here, hopefully. Right now, we're pushing away from that towards the bottom, going into the red, not by much, but 264.13 looking really good. And then towards the bottom, I love this level here, 257.19. You got a nice little bounce there. Love when they do this, when they come up, rejection and change in direction. That is good. We come up again here. This time we get above it, but that becomes an area of good support there. So 257 definitely going to be on my list as a level with some weight on it. Space, great day yesterday. High of the pre-market, 11.28. Towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market, we're going to mark this down. You know, I like this one over here, 10.50. I know the low of the pre-market is 10.47, a couple of cents below. But the reason I like 10.51 is because here's where you have a lot of the touches, right? A lot more touches are happening at 10.51. So yeah, every time we kind of went below that, we found a way to bounce back up. But 10.51 looks good for me. I'm going to keep that instead. Towards the bottom, 9.81, great area of support and resistance. Good change in direction right there. Good pivot point. So that can become good support if we are going to head lower today. So that is our watch list so far, guys. Looking really, really good this morning. I like what we have this morning, actually. We got options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in various sectors here. We do have pins, which, by the way, looks very, very good. Let's fine-tune our secondary list. We have pins. We have Airbnb, Viacom, a lot of the stuff with earnings today as well. FB could be good. Twitter, Twitter's okay. It's okay. It's not reacting as much as the other one. So I'm going to remove it just to fine-tune my list a little bit better. X, I'm going to remove too. This will be great for a breakout. If we can break out here, like, get some volume and breakout, that'll be nice. Right now, when I look at it now, though, it's just compared to everything else I have, it's not cutting it. Be big, it might just start doing be big stuff, right? It does this pop, it gets our attention early on, and then it starts doing this nastiness here, it comes right back down. If it does that, I'm not interested at all. And for some reason, I'm getting the sense that is what we're going to do here, because look at this, right? We're not able to make new highs here, and that's not good. You want to make new highs. You want to keep testing this high of the pre-market here. We're not doing that. This feels like it's going to drop here, so I'm not a fan of that. Let's get rid of this. Crocs this morning. Again, we'll have to wait for the market open to see how this is going to play out. Right now, stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Careful with this one, guys. Spread is very, very nasty right now. That's going to get better at the market open, but at the moment, just be very, very careful with Crocs here. Might actually be one that you put on your risky pile, because this thing can move quite a bit there. All right, we are all set. Moderators list is coming up here. We got a couple of things there. We have Thor, Susan, and Dima with their list already. So we'll check that out in a second. They all have space. They all like space this morning, which again has such an incredible day yesterday. Looking forward to see if we can get some more action out of space today. All right, I think we're all set, guys. 9 a.m. We're done rather early. We can take care of a couple of questions if you guys have, or on YouTube. If you have not done so already, please hit that thumbs up. We're sitting at 146. We love that 250, 300, which we actually been hitting this week. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate all the support. It takes you 2 seconds, but it does mean a lot to us here. So yes, the YouTube stream is completely crystal clear. Our browser, it's not the chat room, it's our browser with the software that Norm and I use is having some problems. We use vMix for our software. So we got to figure out what's going on there, how we can get that stream nice and clear. But again, trust me, we're spending time to figure that out and we will get it fixed as soon as possible. So thank you for your patience there. And all right, what else can we look at? What else you guys have on your list that might not be on our primary list and on our secondary list? What do you guys have that you like this morning? AMC, Ron. Ron is giving us AMC today. Oh, AMC, nice little drop pre-market. Any news on AMC? Well, what's causing this? AMC. They had earnings on the no, they have earnings coming up on next month, so it's not that. Yeah, they got some good action though here. They're dropping pretty nice this morning. Well in the green, now in the red. Had a decent day yesterday. Daily again, they're just coming back below this area of the system.
AMC is a little bit of a weird situation.
Yeah.
AMC Networks, which is not the same as the theaters, had earnings this morning. So people hear AMC had earnings
No
and
way.
they'll trade it. Yeah. So yeah, it's
that is great. Oh man, that is great. So yeah, a little bit of a drop for them here this morning. Yeah, that could be very confusing. Very confusing, especially because you got a lot of people now that don't know much about stocks, but they know about AMC because what has happened with GameStop and that whole situation. I have people that probably never traded in their life, friends of mine, that called me and said, "Hey, are you in AMC? Are you in GameStop? Okay, where do you hear this from?" Right? So, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see
absolutely.
that. All right, guys. I am all set. I like my list today. Roblox, TTD, Snap, snapping a little bit back here. Nvidia is dropping a little bit here, losing the low of the pre-market. That is nice. And I have space. So again, I really like my list. I'm not going to look any further, guys. I think this is great for today. Yesterday was messy to get our list yesterday, if you guys remember. We had to go through a lot of different tickers that were not really in play, that didn't look good. And somehow, some way, our list turned out to be a real nice yesterday. So, but it's nice to have a list today that we didn't really have to work too hard to put together. So that is great. What is your criteria for your final list? Habibi Nani. So it's basically what you see here. I mean, if you look at this list here and you see what's common on all of them, it's going to be that pre-market activity, right? So that price action right now. Look at Roblox. We're down 21%. It has a catalyst. They had earnings last night. So this has the trifecta. You're gapping down. You have the volume with great pre-market action and activity. Plus, you have a catalyst, right? Many times in this market, you don't get the catalyst. You just get the gap down in the volume, and that could be good enough to get you going and do amazing things, especially with the way the SPY's been moving, up and down 2% on any given day. But you have a catalyst. So this has the trifecta for me. So this is great to watch there. I like what I'm seeing there. You look at TTD, same thing here. You have the volume, you have a good pre-market activity, and you have a catalyst. So again, great stock to watch. Snap, same thing. You have a catalyst here. It's very repetitive, but that's what it is. You have the catalyst, you have a great pre-market action. Snap has been trading very well in the past with the news of, of their earnings. Did very well here. And now with this ask not to track, that's a big deal for them. That's a big catalyst. They're down 6%, so they're hitting our gappers list, and they got the volume, right? So again, looking very good. Nvidia, I don't think there's a catalyst on Nvidia, but it has the volume, great pre-market activity, and on top of that, we've been watching Nvidia, and it's been trading so well. If you saw it yesterday, if you missed our show early this morning when we recapped the stuff from yesterday, I mean, look how great Nvidia traded, man. This is nice. This is real nice. Look at this breakout here. Took a bit to get going. Broke out from the pre-market highs. Was around, I believe, around here somewhere, 253 something. Look at this breakout. Just beautiful continuation. This is where these are the trades that you really, you make your week. You make your week on these trades, right? So very nice there. Here is space. Another beautiful breakout yesterday. So glad I kept this on the list. Took me a couple of shots. I missed the first one. I got in here for some reason. I got out. Don't let's not even talk about it. But I was able to get another move on it. But man, I had such a great entry, and for some reason, this candle here, there was no reason for me to get out of my trade. It did not hit my stop at all. Uh, Again, just really, really poor management there, and I missed this entire move to the next level that I had. So a little bit frustrating, but I was able to get a little bit of a move here. Not as great, not as many shares because now we're very extended. So either way, glad I kept it on. Nevertheless, traded very, very well yesterday. So yeah, so that's kind of the criteria, man. Hopefully that answers that question on what we're looking for here. We don't want to see is stuff like let's see here. What do we have here? Biocom is actually decent today. They're okay. Shop this right here. Man, yes, they have the volume, they have the gap down, but we know this can trade so bad. The spread is horrible. This is not what you want to have on deck, right? That is more based on our experience. We know from trading so long, a couple of years, we know this stock can trade very nasty, right? If you're looking at this and you have never watched shop trade in the market open, you might think, oh, this is great. Let's put this on the list. But depending on your trading style, this can be a nightmare to trade and hold through some pullbacks, right? So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. All right, guys, what else we have? We are looking pretty good here for the most part. Brian will be up next. I see some moderators throwing out their list. I'm going to actually bring that over now. Let's get that over here. Let's get the moderators lineup. I'm going to stop the video here so it doesn't get the mirror effect. As I'm doing this, guys, and resizing this over on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. We're sitting at 213, so thank you. Good numbers for today. Like our watch list. Good watch list today as well. Okay, let's bring this over. So here we go. Here it is. All right, starting with Thor, guys. He's watching the SPY, which we all are. I mean, you have to watch the market with the way things are. Snap, Roblox, Biocom, and Space. Susan is looking at Space, Facebook, and Snap. Dima likes Roblox, Space, Facebook, and Apple. Tiffany's looking at Facebook, Viacom, secondary list, Snap, and Roblox. Megan is looking at WFC, Futu, AMC, and BE. Couple of IPOs opening up today. One SPAC coming up there. And then Peter's list, AMD, Roblox, Facebook, secondary list, Space, Viacom, UPST, and NVIDIA this morning. So that is our watch list from our moderators lineup this morning. So again, a lot to choose from. Some really, really good stocks this morning. Okay. Anything else we can answer, guys? We got about a couple of minutes before Brian comes on and gives his take on his watch list and what he likes today. Anything that we can answer for you this morning? Any stocks that might not be on our list we can look at as well. Guys, do not forget to try our replay. It is completely free, right? So you can go to Stock Trading Simulator, and you can replay your action right on there. Kind of get a taste for what things like. This is a great tool. If let's say, for example, if you want to see how some of these stocks trade that are horrible, and maybe you haven't seen shop trade before, right? Maybe you haven't seen what shop trades like on a regular basis. You can go back and kind of see this action here and see what we're talking about. How spready and spotty that can be. If you missed CAR yesterday, right? If you're thinking, oh man, what a great drop from 190 to 165. I wish I would have joined that. I would have made a boatload of money. Go back and replay that price action and actually try to trade it. And you're gonna see how crazy those pullbacks are, how nasty the spread is. You'll get that action there if you missed it on the stock replay. So definitely try that out. It's a good way to be able to get a feel for what the stock is actually doing. Take a simulated trade and really feel it. Yeah, I agree. You gotta trade a simulator. If you're practicing, you gotta treat it like if you are trading live. If you don't, it's not that it's pointless, but it's kind of it's pointless. That's like an athlete.
It's actually worse than pointless, I'll say, because it gives you if you do that. Anybody can become a millionaire in a simulator, just averaging down until something finally comes out, all kinds of stuff like that, right? But it gives you a false sense of accomplishment, and it actually is detrimental to real trading if you do that, as opposed to just not doing anything. And no, it's not the stimulator, it's the simulator.
Absolutely. And yeah, guys, it kind think about an athlete, taking practice not serious.
Yeah.
It's what do you think is going to happen? These guys take their practice extremely serious. You do more work off the screen, off the field, than you do on the field, right? Same thing with trading. You got to do more work off the trading screens in the live environment. You got to practice your simulator. You got to attend the webinars. You got to prepare, man. If you're not prepared, guess what? You're going to perform that way. There's no question about it. You're going to perform that way. And I felt for that. I felt like, man, the simulator. I'm not doing this. I don't. You don't get the what you get when you're trading live. I get it, but man, if you cannot do that, you're gonna struggle big time. All right, guys, we are set. Recap: Roblox continues to drop here. Okay, it looks like we're getting somewhat of a base here. 52.21. I'm gonna mark that down. 57.19. Excuse me. 57.19. We'll do a level there. Got a little bit of a bounce happening there. TTD also has a bounce from the lows of the last 2 trading days, so that's good. Snap, yep, 38.49. Nvidia, Nvidia's dropping here. We didn't do levels for Nvidia. Looks like we did not. All right, let's do that. Let's do that now. Low of the pre-market right now. I'm not gonna mark that. It's gonna continue to drop. Looks like I'm gonna mark down this here though. I'm gonna mark down 258.73. High of the pre-market is gonna be 267.48. Let's see how what the new low of the pre-market is going to be. There is an interesting level here though. This 264.16. Looks like we try to hold this here, and also a little bit of consolidation, not consolidation, but hesitation there. Little stutter step, I guess, at 264.16. Let's mark that down and see what if that means anything for Nvidia. So we are all set. And then we have space also losing 1050 a little bit, or at least doing a new low there as well. So good. Overall SPY this morning. Okay, that explains why some of the stuff is taking a little bit of a dip right now. The SPY is dropping almost half.
It started
8%.
moving lower on that Russian news, so
yeah.
Makes sense. We got the pop yesterday, relief from some of the Russia problems, and then saying they're not gone makes sense that the market would be dropping again. So.
Yep, I agree 100%. All right, folks, we are all set. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's see if Brian is on. If he is, we'll switch to him. If not, we will see you guys tomorrow. Let's see here. Brian. Yeah, Brian is on. Let's see if he'll hop in here. We'll switch over to him so you guys can get his take for what he likes this morning, and we will go from there. So, guys on YouTube, thank you so much. 263, appreciate it. You guys got us over that 250 mark. Love it. Does mean a lot. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate your support. All right, excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this open. I think we have some good tickers here today.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Trade safe.
Guys, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone.